Let me ask you something. How many times have you closed all your apps before putting your phone in your pocket, thinking you were saving battery? Or panicked because you left your iPhone charging overnight or turned on low power mode the second you unplugged your charger in the morning, just in case? Yeah, I've been there too. And here's the thing. Almost everything you've been told about iPhone batteries is flat out wrong. Not a little wrong. Not, well, it depends. Wrong. Completely, provably, testably wrong. Today, we're going through 5 of the biggest iPhone battery myths. The ones that are still spreading in 2026, and we're going to kill them one by one. With real data, with Apple's own documentation, and with actual benchmark numbers. Let's get into it. Charging to 100% overnight is killing your battery. This one has been around since smartphones existed. The idea is simple. Leave your phone plugged in all night. It stays at 100% for hours. The battery degrades faster, and you've basically aged your battery overnight. And here's the thing. That used to be true. Back in the early 2000s, with older lithium-ion chemistry and dumber charging circuits, yes, trickle charging at 100% was genuinely bad for long-term battery health. But Apple has known about this for years, and they fixed it. It's called optimized battery charging. It's been in iOS since version 13, which came out in 2019. Here's exactly what it does. Your iPhone learns your daily routine. It knows when you typically wake up. So instead of charging straight to 100% and then sitting there all night, it charges to 80%, pauses, and then finishes the last 20% right before your alarm goes off. You wake up to a full battery. Your battery never sat at 100% for 8 hours. Everyone wins. Apple designed this specifically to reduce what's called electrochemical stress, the kind of stress that actually causes long-term degradation. It's not marketing language. It's backed by battery science. So what's the mistake people are making? They're turning this feature off. Seriously. There are Reddit threads, YouTube videos, and tech forums full of people saying, disable optimized battery charging. It doesn't actually help. And they're disabling a feature that Apple engineered specifically to protect their battery based on myths from 2013. Keep it on. It's in Settings, Battery Health, and Charging. If it's off, turn it back on right now. Closing background apps saves battery. This might be the most common thing iPhone users do. You swipe up, you see all your apps in the app switcher, and you swipe them all away. Clean slate, fresh start, good battery hygiene, right? Wrong. And this isn't even close. iOS, unlike Android, uses a system called app suspension. When an app goes into the background, iOS essentially freezes it. It's not running. It's not using your CPU. It's not draining your battery. It's just sitting there in memory, in a suspended state, waiting for you to come back. Now, here's the part people miss. When you force close that app and then open it again later, your iPhone has to fully reload it from scratch. Fresh launch. That process uses more CPU, more RAM, and more battery than if you just let it sit there suspended. So by constantly swiping away your apps, you are, not maybe, not theoretically, you are literally using more battery than if you did nothing. Studies and iOS engineers have confirmed this. Apple's own support documentation says you should only force close an app if it's completely frozen or unresponsive. Now, what's actually draining your battery? 2 main culprits. Number 1, location services, specifically apps set to always location access. Things like weather apps, social media, and delivery apps. if they're pinging your GPS constantly in the background, that kills battery. Go to Settings, Privacy, Location Services, and audit every app. Most of them should be set to while using. Number 2, always on display if you have a Pro model. Beautiful feature, constant battery cost. If you're trying to extend battery life, that's one of the first things to toggle off. Meanwhile, about 70% of iPhone users in the US are still manually closing apps every single day. Doing nothing would literally be better. Low power mode is the only real way to save battery. Low power mode is great. I'm not going to pretend otherwise. On an iPhone Pro Max, it can give you an extra 20 to 30% of battery life. We're talking potentially 10 or more hours of screen on time. That's significant. But here's what people get wrong. They treat low power mode like it should just always be on, like it's the default. And that's a problem because low power mode like it should just always be on, like it's the default. And that's a problem because low power mode comes with real trade-offs. It reduces your refresh rate. It limits background activity. It throttles your CPU performance. It disables some visual effects and automatic downloads. For some people in some situations, those are acceptable trade-offs. But if you're running it constantly, you're giving up features you paid for all day, every day, out of fear of running low on a battery that probably would have lasted anyway. Here's some context. The iPhone 17 standard model has a 3,692 mAh battery. The Pro Max sits at 5,088 mAh. More importantly, Apple's C1 chip, their first custom cellular modem, dramatically improves power efficiency at the modem level, which is historically one of the biggest battery drains on any smartphone. Real-world testing puts the iPhone 17 at 12 to 17 hours of continuous use on normal tasks without low power mode. Use low power mode when you actually need it. When you're at 20%, when you're traveling and can't charge, when you're going into a long meeting. Don't keep it on all day as a security blanket. iPhone battery is worse than Android because it has fewer milliampere hours. This one gets a lot of traction, especially in comment sections and spec comparison videos. The logic sounds reasonable. Bigger battery number equals better battery life. So if a $400 Android phone has a 5,000 milliampere hour battery and an iPhone 17 has 3,692 milliampere hours, the Android wins, right? No. And this is one of the clearest cases of misleading spec comparisons in the tech world. Battery capacity tells you how much energy is stored. It tells you nothing about how efficiently that energy is used. In real-world testing, not synthetic benchmarks, but actual screen-on time during typical tasks, the iPhone 17 at 3,692 milliampere hours consistently matches or beats Android phones with significantly larger batteries. We're talking about phones from OnePlus, Poco, and others that carry 4,500 to 5,000 milliampere hours, but land in the same 12-hour range. iPhone 17 in testing, approximately 12 hours and 47 minutes of screen-on time. That's more than the iPhone 16, and competitive with or beating most Android flagships in the same price tier, despite having a smaller battery. The reason is software and hardware integration. Apple controls the chip, the operating system, the power management stack, all of it. The A19 chip is built specifically to work with iOS. Android phones run a general-purpose OS on third-party chipsets. There's inherent inefficiency in that setup. Raw milliampere hours is a useful number for comparing batteries within the same device ecosystem. Across ecosystems, it tells you almost nothing. iOS updates drain your battery faster. Every time a major iOS update drops, the same thing happens. People update. Their battery seems worse for a few days. And suddenly, every tech forum is full of posts saying Apple deliberately slows down old iPhones with updates to force upgrades. Some of that is conspiracy. Some of it is a genuine misunderstanding of what's actually happening. Here's the real explanation. When you install a major iOS update, your phone has to do a lot of work in the background. Spotlight re-indexes your apps and files. Photos reanalyzes your library. System processes recalibrate. This background activity is real. It uses CPU and battery, and it can last anywhere from a few hours to a couple of days, depending on how much is on your phone. That's not degradation, that's normal. It stops. And then, for iOS 19 specifically, independent testing shows that the battery situation actually improves on supported hardware. The A19 chip combined with iOS 19 optimizations delivers up to 6 additional hours of battery life compared to the same tasks on iPhone 16. That's not a small margin, but here's what people do wrong. They update. They notice the battery is lower than usual on day 1 or day 2, and they immediately leave a 1-star review or post a complaint without ever checking what's actually using their battery. Go to Settings Battery. Right there, you'll see a breakdown of exactly which apps used power in the last 24 hours and the last 10 days. If there's a problem, it'll show you. More often than not, it's a specific app behaving badly, not the update itself. Give any major update 48 to 72 hours before judging the battery life, then check the data. So let's recap. Charging overnight. Fine, leave optimized battery charging on and stop worrying. Closing background apps. You're wasting time and making things worse. Stop. Low power mode. Use it when you need it, not as your default state. Milliampere hour comparisons to Android, meaningless without context. Real-world tests are what matter. iOS updates killing your battery. It's temporary indexing. Check your battery usage before blaming Apple. The pattern here is the same every time. People are making decisions based on information that's either outdated, misunderstood, or just completely wrong. And it's affecting how they use a device they spent $1,000 on. If this video saved you from doing one of these things, share it with someone who still swipes away all their apps every night. They need to see this. And if there's a battery myth I didn't cover, drop it in the comments. I'll test it and add it to the follow-up. See you in the next one.